Hey, it's Susan Martin back here in West Michigan, Zone 6A. So here in my garden, I have 5 different species of hydrangea, some of which are more cold tolerant than others. I have panicle hydrangeas with the cone-shaped flowers here. I have the smooth hydrangeas, which are the native arborescens type. And I also have bigleaf hydrangeas. Now these bigleaf hydrangeas are hardy to zone 5, but the panicle and smooth hydrangeas are hardy to zone 3. And since I'm in a zone 6, I know I didn't have to worry about wrapping those zone 3 hydrangeas. But I was a little more concerned about these zone 5 ones. You know, I didn't wrap them 2 winters ago, and we had a terrible winter, and none of them bloomed for me. So I wanted to be extra careful this year. And so what I did was I put chicken wire cages around them and stuffed them with leaves last fall in late November, right before the snow flies. When I put these chicken wire cages around these hydrangeas and stuffed them full of leaves, I filled them all the way to the top and I pushed them down in there nice and snug. But you know what happened? As the snows came over the winter and the weight of the snow went on top of these cylinders here, it pressed the leaves down, and almost all of my cylinders here were reduced by about a third. About 30% of this plant then was still exposed. So what I had to do was go to my pile of leaves I have in the woods and actually add more leaves to these cylinders in early winter, just to make sure the tops of the stems, the buds at the tops of the stems, were still protected. So keep that in mind when you're raking your leaves in the fall. You may want to keep a little spare pile out in the woods or in the back, just in case you need to refill your hydrangea cages. So it's now springtime in Michigan, and the crocuses are blooming, the Lenten roses are starting to come into bloom, the trees are starting to bud out, and so I know that these bigleaf hydrangeas in these cages are ready to come out. You know how else I know? Really important. I have checked 3 different weather apps to check the nighttime temperatures for the next 15 days to get us through mid-April, and there are no freezing temperatures at nighttime in the forecast. So I am good to go. We are ready to unwrap. I have 3 bigleaf hydrangeas here. Now this one I've actually already unwrapped, so you could see the nice big fat buds that are coming up the stems on these. See how they're nice and green and healthy? That's because I wrapped this hydrangea so they were protected all winter long. They were protected from the cold blasts that we tend to get here in Michigan. So I'm going to show you how to unwrap these hydrangeas. We'll start with this one. Now I will tell you, I've done this a few times and you never know exactly what's going to happen. So hang in there, we're going to see. Now, last fall, I pinned these down with landscape staples. So the first thing I'll do is I'll take those up off the ground so I can reuse those next year. If you're lucky, you can lift the whole cylinder up and it'll come all in one piece with all the leaves still in it. Then you can just dump the leaves in your compost pile. But sometimes when you take off the cage, all the leaves fall down. So let's see what happens this time. Ooh, we got lucky. Now I've got my handy cart here. Throw that right in. Grab my garden fork. Okay, so remember we told you about those big fat turgid leaves that were on the stems last fall? Here they are, all dried up. And if you just take your fingers slightly, gently, and just pull those right off, you'll see underneath our beautiful bright green flower buds and leaf buds. This hydrangea is going to bloom this summer, I know it. It was totally worth the extra effort. So one thing I want to remember to do is I want to get these leaves out of the crown. We don't want to leave these in here because that will hold too much water along the crown and that can lead to rot. So we don't want that to happen. A garden fork is a great tool to use, or just your fingers, to get the leaves out from the crown. Have nice good air circulation down there. What do you think? I think it looks great. You'll notice that when I took this cylinder off the hydrangea, I didn't actually undo the cage. I kept it all together. I didn't undo these zip ties that are holding it, because now I can just shake the leaves out and throw it behind my shed so I can reuse it again next fall. So then I've only invested once in this chicken wire. I don't have to rebuy it again next fall. I can just reuse these cages the same time next year. So we're all set with this big leaf hydrangea. I've got the leaves out from under the crown. We aren't worried about rotting at all. There's nice green buds all the way up the stems. This is going to bloom beautifully for me this summer. I've just got a few more left to go. I have about 15 of these in my yard. I'll finish these up and then we'll check back again this summer so you can see how they bloom.